All the death everyone wants to give me. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Trip Smoke It. Tonight we got on Kesse Esterly. He's the author of the upcoming little book called Born to Bar, which, I mean, he's going to tell me about it, but you know, it's been around forever, as we were talking about before the show. So yeah, hey everybody, how you doing? So before crap, dude, I'm fucking losing my train of thought already. Anyway, said Born to Bar. We talked to you a little bit about it, and I was looking up on the website, and is it pretty much just like a collection of stories of like, you know, sea stories and people's, you know, shenanigery that you've kind of gathered around your travel to the core?
You hit it right on the head. What I try to describe to people is, I mean, I'm 46, so most people my age have heard of Chicken Soup for the Soul books. All right, so it's just a collection of short stories sent in by people who just, you know, submitted it. Mine's just the Marine Corps version, and they're not just the feel good. You know, I got a ribbon or an award. These are the stories that we all love to tell at the bar. So we're out drinking at the bar, and you know, these are the stories that we share and we laugh and we talk about, you know, through over our time in. And that's kind of really what I was looking for. So I always say, you know, my stories are all revolve around stupidity, strippers, and sloppy drunkenness. So, I mean, that's kind of what they are.
Yeah. Deviling the dogs, putting the leather in Leatherneck.
Yeah, and that's it. I mean, it's the Lance Corporal Underground. You know, all those stories from while we were in, or you know, on afterwards, or you know, anything like that. They were some really good stories.
You grow up throughout the Marine Corps, but you keep your ear down to the Lance Corporal Underground. Like, hey guys, what's going on? What's the real skinny? What's happening?
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
That was actually maybe you can relate to this a little bit, but like one of the things that like got my books going in the first place, because originally, you know, like I made all my friends on the fucking smoke pit, you know, like I was a combat camera guy, and you know, always being the new dude, it was like, all right, well, how do I make these people like me the day I show up? Extra tobacco, got it. And yeah. On top of, you know, being a magician of the shenanigans myself, you know, you always hear these crazy stories. People are fucking telling you while you're smoking a cigarette at the bar or whatever, and you know, eventually at one point I just started writing them down. And then I got them together, and then when I was done, I was kind of wanted to like do like a short story, kind of like what you're doing, except for I kind of figured like, you know what, let's make all this crazy shit happen to like 3 guys.
Yeah,
I'll throw aliens in here too. Fuck it, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
I can't wait to. So I'm glad you know, we ran into each other, because I need to order your book. I have a couple that are on my list that I need to start reading, but. You know, and I got to wait till after this one comes out on November 10th, and then I'll actually have some free time.
Which is the greatest day for this to come out. What day of the week's that this year? Is it a Tuesday?
Wednesday.
All right,
it's Wednesday.
All the fucking week. Just in time for fucking payday.
Absolutely.
If you have Pacific Marine, you get paid on Wednesdays, right? Or
you know what? I'm not sure. I'm a federal employee right now, so I get paid. You know, it's usually Fridays, but because I have USAA, it's a Thursday.
Yeah, I always thought it was weird how like people with different banks would get paid on different days. It's like, I don't think that's how it's supposed to work, but
right.
Okay, buddy.
Yeah. Where are you located at?
I am in central Pennsylvania, and that's why I put that thing up for people who are in New Jersey, because I got an art exhibit there, and I was being like, hey, who wants to come see my stuff? But you can't come because you're hosting a 5K?
Yeah. We so I moved into a town. I'm from Pennsylvania, right outside Reading originally.
Okay.
And when I got out of the Marines, I got a job with the Air Force in New Jersey, working as a civilian. So I moved over towards Philadelphia, and then I ended up coming in, meeting my wife, and we live in South Jersey.
Nice.
So we picked this town. I had never been here before in my life, and this town is so military friendly. It's ridiculous. And I ended up meeting some guys that are at the VFW. And he said, hey, look, you know, you're a Marine. We'd love to have you at the VFW. We do every year, we do this 5K, Memorial 5K for a Marine who was killed in Iraq. And I said, hey, great. You know, whatever you need to help. Now, this was, like 9 years ago.
Yeah.
And it turns out he was killed in 2004 in Ramadi, and I was in Fallujah at the same time.
Oh.
So, I mean, we were there at the exact same time. So like absolutely compelled to like, whatever you need, I'm going to help.
Nice.
So the retired master sergeant who's kind of been running everything, I mean, he's getting up in his age, and it's a little bit harder for him now. And with the COVID, everything kind of going on, we didn't do the race last year.
Yeah.
And I said, look, if your health is an issue and it's going to prevent it from going on this year, let us take over it. We have a couple Marines from the VFW that I'm close with, and an Army guy, and we were like, look, we'll take it over. So he basically handed me the torch and said, run with it. So November 6th, we've got a race coming up, and it should be fun. We've got a lot of people on board. We raised quite a bit of money already. Everything goes to the Marine Corps Law Enforcement Foundation. They give college money towards children of fallen Marines and law enforcement officers.
Nice.
So it's a good cause. I think, total we've raised over the last 10 years is probably right around like $90,000 to $100,000 just from this one race.
That's not a small.
No, not at all. I mean, it's relatively a small race. We probably average about 300 runners, but
especially you said it's a small town too, right?
Well, I mean, it's Gloucester City. I mean, it's smaller. It's still considered a city, I guess. It's in between Camden and Philadelphia, but I mean, it's size wise, it's definitely small.
Yeah, but that's still a good number for turnout for
Absolutely. Yeah, we just actually turned on one of the things that I did. My wife and I are both runners, so we get the virtual races, 5K, and we sign up for virtual race of whatever.
Now, how does that work? Do you like start and stop at a certain time and just like have your
Yeah, so we'll find a good a cause, and there's hundreds of them every year that come out, and it may be a New Year's, ring in the 2022 New Year. $25. They send you a bib, they send you a medal, and you basically run it whenever you feel like, wherever you feel like, at the gym, on the treadmill, outside, doesn't matter.
I didn't know that was
yeah. I mean, apparently it's gotten, pretty big over the last couple of years. We've been doing it quite often, especially over, with COVID, all the gyms are closed. And so we added that option in. I found a race medal maker that's out of New York City and said, hey, look, this is what we're trying to do. I want to do a special medal and a ribbon. And so now we have a virtual option for our race as well. So, if you have any listeners that are in California and they want to do a 5K, they can absolutely do it.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. Like, especially for the remote thing. I was thinking more like for people in say Montana or something that can't get out there. But I guess just anywhere that's not local to the actual event.
Yeah.
Right?
We also have during this time in this year, there's also the Philly Marathon and like a Rocky Run 10-mile race. And so that way, you have so much going on. Like November is jam packed, man. I mean, you just, between, especially for Marines, is we have the Marine Corps birthday, and then we have Veterans Day, and then we roll into, all these other holidays and stuff. And, for us, we have this race, and then there's a marathon, and then there's, all this other stuff. So it gives people an opportunity. Hey, look, I really would love to support this race. I'd love the t-shirt and all this stuff. So now you have the option. You don't have to miss the Philly Marathon, and you can still, sign up and do a 5K. So, yeah,
that's really cool. So, to tie it back a little bit earlier though, what got you to decide to start writing, to get your book together? Like not necessarily why I'm going to write this book, but like what kind of hit you in the head? Like, let's write that down.
So, my best friend from high school, Dave, when I joined the Marines right out of high school, he went into college. I got out the first time after 4 years. He graduated, got his bachelor's, and he moved back home. We moved in together, and we started going out drinking and, doing a bunch of stuff. And then from there, I went back on active duty. He got his commission as an officer. We met back up in Camp Lejeune. Worked together at Camp Lejeune. We both deployed to Iraq together, separate units. He was Intel and I was with RCT-7. But along the way, I was going through my second divorce at the time after I got back from Iraq. and we were doing a lot of drinking. We were going out, going to strip clubs, just, doing whatever. And we had a lot of stories, a lot of fun times. And we said, one day we need to put this into a book. And I said, Dave, you know what? You're fucking right. We're going to put this into a book one day.
I know that there's a lot of people that say that, but so few actually fucking go through and do
it. The key on it really was why. Why do I want to do this? What good is it going to really do? And really what that came down to was COVID. I had 5 or 6 guys that, that I knew, committed suicide over COVID. And, from talking to a lot of people, I really got into podcasts during COVID because we were all working from home. So I would wake up my normal time, 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, and I would sit on my front porch and I would be listening to podcasts. And a lot of the military podcasts that I really liked were finding these causes, trying to, combat veteran suicide or veteran homelessness or, any of those. And and it kind of hit me. And I was like, here's my why. I can write a book with my stories, and I can go out and I can get other stories from other people and put them together. And if it, who knows what this book's going to do? I mean, it was a lot of fun during, while doing it. And, maybe I'll sell one book. And if I sell that one book to a Marine or anybody, and they reach out to a friend, and they end up, reminiscing about their time in, and maybe it changes that one person's life, and they do a buddy check. And if it prevents one person from becoming a statistic, then that's what it was for. And that's exactly why I did it. And, because I could have gone my whole life, and it's, me and 3 other guys would have had some really good stories that we talk about all the time. But, that's why.
Well, another thing with that though, too, at least with my experience, that mostly mine's come from, I guess, music in that aspect is like, you hear a story or a song or something like that, and they're talking about this like event in their life, and it almost mirrors something you did, and you're like, oh, holy shit, I did that too. I'm not alone in this fucking experience. Somebody else knows how I feel. I'm never going to talk to this person, but like, I'm glad I'm not alone here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, music is, it moves everything you do. I mean, your whole mentality, your emotions, everything you do for the day. I mean, it really goes off of music too. Yeah, I completely understand that.
Yeah. And then like, it's real easy to think that, or to get wrapped up in your own like dumb brain juices and be like, I'm the only person it's ever happened to. Boo me. And then it's like, oh shit, not alone. Cool. It's a good, good for your psyche, to know that you're not a singularity.
Yeah. And that's kind of it too. And, when a couple of us would get together, I always thought that there was something wrong with me. Like, am I really this fucked up? Like, there's got to be something wrong. And the more you get around other Marines, and especially the longer you're out, when you go to different things, you realize that, our mentality and the things that we find funny we're all the same. We might have different decades that, we grew up in. We might have different MOSs, but the shit that we find funny is, often inappropriate. And, most people will look at us and, be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, fucking cheers to that, man.
Yeah. And so I was asking, I thought that I heard that you were from Pennsylvania. Have you been to the birthday at Cookies yet?
I have not. I'm not actually from Pennsylvania. I just moved up here about 3 years ago.
Okay.
When I was getting out of the Marines, I sent applications to Penn State, UCLA, and the University of Houston, and Penn State got back to me first. And I was like, all right, well, that decision got made easy, So. But no, where's this place?
Cookies is in Philadelphia. So they've been holding a birthday bash inside the Center City, Philadelphia, for probably 30 some years.
Nice.
And they shut down 2 or 3 blocks of Center City. The police block it all off. There's 1,000 Marines that come out, and it's pretty much it's a birthday party like you've never been to.
How have I never heard of this?
Yeah, it's amazing. It's so much fun. But yeah, I was going to tell you, like, if you don't have plans for the birthday, I'll send you the information to come down and check it out. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, that sounds like a thing to do. Like, because not a lot of people do. There's not a lot of places that do that kind of thing. Like, and mostly it's limited to like the bars in Jacksonville or Oceanside.
Yeah,
and even then, like Marines get 25 cents off come drink here.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, we had a couple years ago, we had a bunch of buddies that I first served with from 93 to 97. They all flew in, and it was such a great reunion. But you get there and you just don't realize how many people you've served with over a certain amount of time. And you run into people there and you're like, man, bro, like I know you from somewhere. Where the hell do I know you from? Like, and you're rolling through. I'm like, oh yeah, I was at Camp Pendleton in 97. And no shit, me too. But yeah, it's just it's amazing time.
Yeah, I had a similar experience to that with there's a bar, I forget what it's called. I think it's called the Globe, but it's outside of Quantico.
Yeah.
The Globe and Laurel, I think. And I would go in there and I'd see people I haven't seen in 10 years. And it was like an every weekend thing. I'm like, what the fuck? First off, who the fuck are you? That's right, you're this guy from that. Like, also, why are you here? It's just like a weird, real fucking small Marine Corps.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. What's funny is that you saying about Penn State is why you came to Pennsylvania. When I left the Marine Corps, the only reason I actually left in 97, I was stationed out at Camp Pendleton with 1st LAR, and my first wife, we had some issues. We were both from the East Coast, and she wanted to come back east. And I put in my, hey, look, I'm interested in reenlisting, but I'd like to come back to Camp Lejeune. I'd love to come to LAR. And what they said was, look, you've only been here for 2 years. You haven't deployed to Okinawa. You haven't gone on a float with anybody. We're not going to let you leave without doing that.
Yeah.
And I said, okay. I said, well, if I get out, you're still short an NCO to go on these floats. Why wouldn't you just let me, transfer over to Camp Lejeune? And they fought me on it the whole way. And I ended up getting out. And so my first wife and I, we applied to Penn State and both got accepted into Penn State, the Du Bois campus. And that was our plan. We were going to go back. We were going to go to college. I was going to get my 4-year degree. I was going to come back into the Marines as an officer and stay on the East, try and, get, on the East Coast first shot. And then we ended up getting separated on my way home from Camp Pendleton to Pennsylvania. Never went to college. I mean, I went to college now, but didn't go to college, got a job, and then ended up going back into the Marines active duty.
What's messed up about that is there was probably some dude in Lejeune at that point that was like, dude, I just need to go to fucking Pendleton and I'm in it or out. And it's like one dude was like, let me put 1 and 2 together over here and just figure that out. But yeah, no, I had a similar thing. Not because I wanted to get back to the West Coast, but because I just fucking hated Pendleton. Not Pendleton, Quantico. I walk into the monitor's office. I was like, hey, dude, I need to get the fuck out of here. I've been on station for like 2.5 years. I need to leave now. This place blows. And my contract's also up in like 6 months. So I'm not re-enlisting it, fucking whatever. So he's like, all right, well, I can see you to Lejeune in 6 months, or I can see you at 29 Palms in like 3 weeks. And I was like, 29 Palms right the fuck now.
What's funny is, I hear a lot of stories, and one of the podcasts I used to listen to, they always used to say, how everybody hated 29 Palms.
I love 29 Palms.
I love 29 Palms. And I think it has to do with your MOS, your mentality. As infantry, it sucked.
Yeah.
But I got lucky when I did my lat move to forward observer. Man, that's what it was for. You went out to 29 Palms and you were blowing shit up, and you were dirty, and that's why I joined. That was what I wanted to do. So that right there, man, I look forward to it. If it came up on a training schedule, I was going.
Well, there's a lot of reasons I think that are good about 20. Like, first off, like the Libo shit is fucking great. Everyone's like, you're stuck in the middle of the desert. There's nothing there. I'm like, there aren't cops between you and base.
No shit. Yeah.
That
or Palm Springs.
Yeah. Going to the field is a lot different in 29 Palms, because if you're in 29 Palms, you leave Monday morning and you come back Friday night, as to where if you're literally anywhere else, you get on a bus and drive up there a week and a half beforehand and go a lot on Camp Wilson. So a week-long fucking exercise takes a month out of your life because logistics can't be fucking done right.
Right.
That, and like I like the isolation of it. Like, A, I really love the desert, but B, I'm sure that you can attest to this. Like, all the other bases have this thing called traffic outside.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah, absolutely. And I didn't actually I didn't really have the traffic on Camp Pendleton because I worked at the Camp Polgus. We had to go through Polgus. So I would go up there in the morning and there really wasn't a whole lot of traffic, but but San Diego, like I love San Diego and I hated it at the same time. I mean, you get stuck on that traffic, and I mean, you could just be sitting there forever. But yeah,
no. I think when I was there, there was only like one LAR platoon there. Are they call them platoons?
yeah, I mean, they did. We had different companies.
Yeah, but like everybody else already got sent up to 2-9, and then by the time I got out, they were all up in 2-9, and then I think they just moved to a different part of 2-9 after they deactivated tanks, which is fucking weird to me. How the fuck are you going to get rid of tanks and artillery?
Yeah, you know, I don't know. I mean, it's a weird thing, and you know, I guess, you know, so you'd have to hope that somebody has a bigger picture and they're seeing stuff that we're not.
Yeah.
And you know, the problem I have is, you know, you see a lot of these guys who just think they're too smart, and you say, well, you know, we haven't used artillery. You think back, I mean, to the last time really that we used artillery, and I mean, it's, you know, Vietnam.
Yeah, like we used a little bit during the invasion of, I guess, both Iraq and Afghanistan, but like it was like, all right, so we use that for a month, we're good.
Yeah, and that's the problem. I mean, you're limited to the capabilities of artillery. I mean, really, you're only talking 20 miles. You know, so in the desert, 20 miles is nothing.
Right.
While we were in Fallujah and Al Assad, the battery that I went over there, Sierra 510, they didn't even have an artillery mission. The artillery pieces were stuck on like a maintenance area on Al Assad, and they did border security while they did Erbil along the Syrian border. So we had the artillery that was in Fallujah, Camp Fallujah. They were only really doing counter battery fire. So if somebody fired mortars at us within that range, they would fire back. But, you know, and that's kind of the thing is you look and, you know, somebody at that time was probably got a Bronze Star as a 2 or something that, you know, like sat in the COC and didn't do shit, got a Bronze Star, and now he's a general, you know, 20 years later, and he's like, well, we didn't use artillery in Iraq, so we could probably get rid of it and get something else.
Right. I also didn't get laid in Afghanistan, so might as well cut my dick off, right? I'm not using it.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah. You know, I mean, it's just, you can't train for, you know, the next war based off of what you just did, because it changes all the time.
Right, and they're all fucking different. Like even like invading Iraq in 2003 was a lot different than in 1991.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
So I mean,
yeah, we had some smart guys on Al Assad that one of our secondary missions for our fires was crater analysis, and I loved it. I was all about it. When rockets would be flying over us, we'd be grabbing our gear and we'd be heading towards where they impacted. Yeah. And I had a golf club, and that's what I used to find, you know, the direction of where they came from. And somebody on base, whatever.
How did you use a golf club for that?
So to find the direction, you figure out where the middle point of the impact is, and you line up your compass, you know, with the golf club, and you can shoot it back azimuth and kind of figure it out. Right. So we didn't have anything high tech. I mean, it was, you know, we used what we had. Yeah. The base had, you know, they had all their electronic gizmos and gadgets, and, you know, it was a competition to me. Like, you know, like, you got all this $1 million equipment, and I've got a fucking golf club that I got at the you know, thrift shop. Yeah. And that was it, man. I trained, you know, 2 of my young PFCs, and I was like, look, this is what we're doing. As soon as those rockets fly over, you're getting in the vehicle and we're going. And that's what we did, you know, and we were always beating them, you know, beating this other team of 3-4 vehicles and a bunch of, you know, sergeant majors and, you know, whatever they had with them. And it was a lot of fun. So we had a combat camera guy with us and combat correspondents that were attached to us. So they did a piece on us and ran it on, I guess it was, you know, Marine Online or whatever it was. Yeah. 15 years ago. Yeah, it was pretty neat. It was a nice, you know, so if you look up Kesse Esterly USMC, that article will come up from 2005.
Nice. Although not all those stories are great. Friggin' I got a corpsman buddy, and his chief was like one of the meanest son of bitches I've ever fucking met in my life. But his claim to fame is a story very similar to that. He had an article written about him because he was the first guy shot in Desert Storm. It was like, dude, I don't know if you should be bragging about that. Yeah, maybe look at the pictures of him like on a stretcher going like, but his fingers are blurred out. And
Oh shit, that's funny.
Dark humor. There you go.
Yeah. Well, I think so. I can't remember. I was listening to one of your other podcasts, and you were saying something about somebody had a Purple Heart because he broke his tooth.
Yeah. Like, I don't know when I don't know if that's always been a thing to where like the corpsmen show up and you get evacuated, you get a Purple Heart, but it's like,
Yeah.
it used to be you have to get shot, I think.
Right. Yeah. Something during a combat action, not you fell out of the Humvee and broke your tooth.
Yeah. Although I forget who it was. I don't remember if it was I was listening to something or reading something, but I think it was Victor. No, it wouldn't have been Victor Krulak. He was before this, but somebody was talking about how they don't believe that you should just get like a combat action ribbon if you get a Purple Heart, because he knew a guy that was somewhere in Vietnam War, came in, got a bunch of shrapnel from it, but it's like, yeah, but you didn't shoot back, and
Right.
like you weren't actually in combat, you just got hurt. So it's like weird rules, and it's like, yeah, give the guy a Purple Heart, but
Yeah, and it's one of the things too. And you talk to a lot of Marines, and we do it. We base everything off of your ribbons. We we shouldn't.
Yeah. My dick's bigger than yours.
Yeah. And I mean, it really depends on when you were when you served. Like I joined in '94. From '94 to 2000. I mean, we didn't do shit. Like there was no mission. We weren't fighting anybody. We weren't doing anything. So if you're in during that time, say you're in for those 10 years and you get out, you get like 2 ribbons and nothing.
And you don't even really have the Russians to worry about anymore at that point.
Right. Yeah. So like by the time I got to Iraq, I was a staff sergeant. So I was the fires chief for RCT 7 during Fallujah. So I didn't get a combat action. Even though, my award write-up, is all about combat and the combat sorties that we dropped all these ordinances and did all this stuff, and sometimes, it kind of sucks because, I mean, people will ask you, like, what the fuck did you do? You don't have a car? Like, dude, like, you know what, man, it's not always all about that, but
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, the only one that like really does bother me though is, and what we were talking about earlier, where something big happens and then some dude in the S3 who didn't leave the fob, but like manned the GBOSS fucking like eyeball fucking computer thing, gets like a bronze star, and it's like, dude, give him a NAM and shut up.
And that's it, and I don't think I really realized some of those medals that you get out until I was staff.
Yeah.
And you're like, why the fuck did he get a bronze star? What the hell did he do? It's a tour medal.
Yeah.
You can get a fucking bronze star as a tour medal. Like, you sat in the COC, and did what? Like, and he was a douchebag, the guy that
that's
he knew. He got a fucking bronze star.
You could have got the Medal of Honor. Like, yeah, you're still a dick. Fuck you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Now, but on the flip side of that too, like, you look at Iraq and like half of them are bullshit. Like, fucking sea service deployment, I guess half. GWAT did nothing for that. National fucking defense, man. So
yeah, I came in, I joined Depton in '92, and so we still had a little bit of the Gulf War that was coming back, and so I got a national defense just by going through boot camp.
Do you get a star for doing it 10 years? Oh, nice.
Yeah. And that was it. So, some of those, it's like, I mean, now we say it, but then you look at other services and I just laugh.
Oh,
I work at the Air Force, and I see some of their shit, and I'm just like, dude, really? Like,
you got one for going to rifle range? Huh?
Yeah.
Ooh,
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that shit gets a little crazy. But like, what is it? Like, I got 3 different NATO medals. 2 of them were for the same deployment, but because of like I guess like legal jargon of it, they count as different ones. So it's like, all right, so I did one of these, but I got like a bunch of stars on this ribbon because I jerked off in 3 porta shitters.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh God. I'm kind of interested. I need to look that up, like where that came from, because there's that I don't know if it's a legend, urban myth, or whatever, that like Napoleon started the whole like ribbon thing, which would make sense because that dude was good at like psychological warfare, but like on both ends of it, like make the enemy sad, make your guys get motivated. But
that's interesting. I never really considered that.
I mean, because they've done like awards and medals and shit for ever. But you know,
Right.
that's like, we're gonna give you a necklace with like your name engraved on it because you know you fought off the Persians.
Sure.
You know.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah. But like everybody does it, and I imagine that like it probably wasn't like everybody at first. It was, you know, England or France that started it, and then they're like, all right, so everybody that like we invaded, y'all are doing this now too. Right.
Hey, you know what? It was probably like the Vikings who, you know, they probably had necklaces of teeth and ears or something.
Yeah.
And it probably went from there. Like, I have more ears than you do. And then it just kept rolling.
Yeah, but like, you know, friggin' like Leif Erikson does that, and they make a statue of him. I do.
Yeah.
Like, what? That's what we're doing. And then like, you know, there's some weird ones too. Like, I guess speaking of like quote like war crimes, but like I guess like war trophies and shit, like not necessarily cutting people's ears off, but like nowadays, like it's like super illegal to like, I don't know, take a dude's like knife.
Yeah.
Like, why can't I take this home? Because it's longer than 6 inches. Does your wife get mad about that too? Like,
Right.
let me take the fucking knife
Yeah,
home.
exactly. You know, and there's a lot of stuff. So one of the stories that I wrote about actually was told to me from a master sergeant that I was with while they were in the Persian Gulf. One of their first sergeants at the battery they were attached to, they found like a Saudi prince's Harley, and they took it apart. They boxed it up in a 50 cube from Motor T and shipped it back home as Motor T parts. So when it got back, they were able to, you know, put it back together. I mean, which is just fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
While we were in Iraq, we had a lot of kids that were getting busted. They were buying TVs, right? Why we're in fucking Iraq and there's a goddamn PX that sells TVs, it is ridiculous to me to begin with.
Yeah.
But they were buying these 32-inch TVs or whatever for their little can rooms, and they were taking them apart and putting shit inside of them and trying to send them home. Well, they were scanning.
Good, or was it just like, all right, here's some heroin, let's throw that in there?
No, I mean, it was bullets and round or magazines, and
you could just go home and buy.
Yeah, exactly. You know, AK parts. I mean, you know, whatever they found that they thought that, you know, they were going to try and ship home, but, you know, then they were X-raying all these boxes, and, you know, kids were getting busted.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah, I have since lost these. I have no idea where the fuck they are. I'm pretty sure I don't have them anymore. But like when I was in Afghan, like, you know, those like fucking like plastic totes that kind of like a, you know, Foot Locker fucking thing.
Yep.
I have one of those that like I decided to like mail my shit home because like, you know, single Lance Corporal, like I don't want to carry all this shit on the fucking plane. Like,
right.
Like mailed home like everything that like wasn't like SIF gear fucking shit. But in the bottom, I forget what I traded for it, but I had a bunch of like Danish porno magazines. And I go to the customs, they're like, do you have any magazines in here? I'm like, and they're talking about, you know, like magazines, not, you know, like
right.
magazines. And I was like, yeah, I actually got a lot in there. And this like fucking like 120-pound like blonde fucking like army specialist, like, all right, let's see him. Oh, and then she's like looking at him, I'm like, this isn't fucking embarrassing at all.
Yeah.
And this is like 2008, so like the internet wasn't quite what it is now, you know.
Yeah. When did you join? When did you come in?
I was in from 06 to 2018.
Did you know so when you joined in 06, he probably was a gunny, Jonathan Canal?
I know a lot of people that know Canal, and I've heard a lot of stories about Canal, but I don't think I've ever actually met the guy. He's
got a lot of pictures up from Fallujah in or at least he had it down at the Marine Corps Museum.
Yeah, I heard that he went feral in Fallujah, and then like got to the point where like people were trying to get him to come back to the FOB, and he was just like, I didn't hear that. Hey, Motor T fucking Lance Corporal, make sure this box gets the gunny who the fuck ever fucking with a note that says will return soon.
Yeah. He was a fucking awesome dude, man. When we had our fire section when we got out there was made up of our artillery guys, forward observers, and then it was a bunch of individual augments, and then it was our two combat correspondents and Canal.
Yeah.
And so we were both staff sergeants at the time, and we fucking our personalities meshed like really well. So we would talk about football. He's a huge Miami Dolphin fan.
Yeah.
Like I was a Philadelphia Eagles fan, but you know, we had a lot of stories, a lot of the same mentality. But yeah, I mean, he took off, and he was just like, who's going to tell me anything? Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm
Well,
going to go out and do my job. And then
freedom of being a combat camera dude. It's like, yeah, man, you fucking poke, whatever. It's like, yeah, but like I get to go do all the cool shit, and I don't technically have a boss if I'm not on base.
Yeah.
So we rolling or what?
Yeah. The last I saw, I tried to look him up. The last I saw, I think he's a warrant officer now.
Oh.
But I don't know if he's still in. It's been a while since I tried, looking him up. But
yeah. What 2 or 3 years ago now, they merged combat camera and public affairs, and pretty much everybody that was a staff sergeant, at least in combat camera, 3 or 4 years ago, is like a warrant officer too right now.
Really?
Yeah, dude. It was like mesh everything together, because like they had all the public affairs, like officers, and combat camera didn't have them, and all of a sudden there's this like need for them, and I was like, shit, man, I shouldn't have got out. I mean, it wasn't my choice, but fucking like I got medically discharged, so fucking whatever. But it's like, god damn, dude, shouldn't hurt my fucking ankles.
Yeah. Did you choose your MOS?
Yes and no, and then yes. So was it, so we had like in combat camera used to have video, photo, printing, and then like illustration. And I like to draw, and like before you join the Marine Corps, you think everybody is a fucking grunt, you just do different shit. So I was like, shoot a gun and draw, cool. Ended up just doing I was actually the last Marine to go through the illustration course, and then they merged it with printing. And then I got sent to First Martiv and lucked out, because they're like, hey, listen, we just sent all of our photographers to Iraq. We need people to go to Afghanistan who knows how to use a camera. And I was like, I do. So got in with that. And then that MOS was like really fucking slow to pick up. Like I was at my 5-year mark when I picked up corporal, and like my cutting score was like over 2,000. And then picked up corporal and picked up sergeant real fast. And then the Marine Corps decided that they needed to do psyops for some fucking reason. And instead of asking for volunteers, they just like snatched and grabbed people.
Yeah.
I got involuntarily lat moved into psyops, and then did that for 3 years, and then like lat moved back into video. So it was all over the fucking place.
I originally came in, I called my recruiter as a junior, and I said, look, I'm set. I went to a rally with my father for the Gulf War, and I had my mind set up. I was like, that, this is what I'm doing. And I wanted to, I had my whole plan laid out, and I wanted to be a grunt. I wanted to, do something, fun.
Yeah.
I was going to get out, get my degree, come back in as an officer, and then I was going to get out and go into like the CIA or, whatever. And so I was, talking to the recruiter about, about some of the stuff that I liked. And, he said, well, listen, we have the route that you're going, that you want to go into, you have a couple options like MPs and security forces. And he said, well, I mean, you know what the MPs do all day? They stand at a gate and they do this. He said, or you can be security forces and you can go somewhere fun and guard like nuclear weapons and, do all that high speed stuff. And then after 2 years, you'll spend 2 years as a grunt. So you get both, both knowledge. And I was like, hey, that sounds awesome. So that's what I did. I joined and went to Kings Bay, Georgia as my first, which is a nuclear submarine base, my first duty, which we laugh all the time that I don't know how any of us got out of there without an NJP, killing somebody, killing ourselves. I mean, it was just crazy. And then I went to LAR as a scout. And I said at that time, there really wasn't a war mission. We weren't blowing anything up. We weren't shooting anything. And I was bored. Like, this isn't what I joined. This isn't what I thought I was going to be doing. And one of the
let her to pass you. Hang on, it gets better.
yeah. And we went out on the hill with the C Square, and one of the air officers kind of grabbed me along, and he was like, look, dude, come out to the hill, and we'll talk to some aircrafts, we'll shoot some artillery, mortars, whatever. And I fucking loved it. And I was like, yo, how do I get this job? And he was like, dude, you got to be a forward observer. You got to go to, do a lat move, go to forward observer. So when I got out,
they're calm, right? Or they're 06ers?
Forward observers, they're 08s.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. All right.
Yeah. We had comm guys that were attached to us, and they were 06s. But so that's what I did. I left active duty. I found an artillery unit that was in Reading, my hometown. called them up, went to the hill and got to shoot some artillery. And I was like, fuck yeah, let me do this. I can do this. So I did a lat move to Florida Observer. And then, it wasn't long after that 9/11 happened. And I was like, peace out, guys. I'm going back on active duty. I'm not sticking around. But yeah, and then I did that. I was a Florida Observer for 11 years and fucking I loved it. Absolutely loved it.
Yeah, no, but when I was like growing up, like my dad and his dad were both Air Force, and I had an uncle that was Navy and a couple uncles that were Marines, and I'd always planned on joining the Navy just because like F-14s are cool and Top Gun's the greatest movie ever made.
Yeah.
And then what is it? The Fallujah happened, and I was watching that live on TV as a fucking high school kid. I'm like, I'm doing that. Fuck the Navy, man.
Yeah,
I mean, not that much. Navy's cool, but like back then,
yeah, so, absolutely. So you're married, right?
Yes.
Do you have any kids?
No, not yet.
Are you gonna have any?
Probably at some point, but like not now, not yet.
So
our house like what a year ago, got married 2 years ago.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm on my third wife, so
that's not uncommon for Marine.
Yeah, no, I know. So I'll pose the hypothetical. So your kid decides he wants to join the military, and he says, "Hey, Dad, Air Force or Marines?" What are you telling him?
I would tell him, if you're joining for college money, because I'm not paying for it, join the fucking Air Force. If you're joining to see the world, join the Navy. If you want to fucking go get in the fight, join the Marines, or like I'll talk to you with the Army recruiter and make sure he doesn't screw you into being supply.
Yeah, and that's it. My oldest is 20. He's going through college right now, but that's he was like, look, what do you think? And I said, look, I'll tell you, you'll never find another branch that like the Marines.
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, we have that, infantry and all this, but you'll make friends in the Marines that you'll have for the rest of your life. The difference that we do, like we celebrate the birthday.
Yeah.
The Air Force just had their birthday, like, a couple of weeks ago, 47 years old or 50, whatever, 75 years old, whatever they are. They don't do anything. They didn't have anything special. I had to remind them, hey, isn't today your birthday?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, that's the Marine Corps too, though, is like fucking, and the most other fucking branches, like, say you're in the Army just because, they got the widest, thing. You're either a grunt or, you're a helicopter fucking like repairman, mechanic, or your supply or admin. But like in the Marine Corps, like people are, hey, what do? You don't say, oh, I'm in the infantry. You don't say, oh, I'm a supply clerk. You say, I'm a fucking Marine.
Right.
Yeah. Which I think there's something special about that. Maybe I drank too much of the Kool-Aid, but fucking
it was difficult. I said I've been working for the Air Force now for a little over 10 years. When I left the Marines in 2008, I put my resume on USA Jobs, and an Air Force captain called me, and he was like, hey, listen, I got your resume and we're interested in hiring you for this position. And at the time that between 2008, 9, there was a lot of hiring freeze in the federal government.
Yeah.
So all the places that I was looking in Philly, they were all like, look, we're interested in you, but we can't hire you right now. Can't give you a time, can't give you a date. And so he called and he was like, look, you're my number one pick. And, if I hire you, you can start within a month. And I said, sir, I don't know shit about logistics and I don't know shit about the Air Force, really.
Yeah.
And he said, look, you're a Marine. My dad was a Marine. I'm looking at your resume and I think you're perfect for what, we need. So I took the job. I ended up in New Jersey. And it took me quite a while to, get the, hey, look, you're not gunny anymore. You don't need to be gunny here. These are Air Force. They don't talk like that or get treated like that. And, I really have to watch, fuck is my favorite word.
You haven't called anybody a fuck face in a while as well.
Oh God. And yeah, and you start telling them like, that's the stupidest fucking thing I've heard this week. And they really get offended. And it's like, man, like, it's such a different atmosphere in the way the Air Force works and runs. But man, they have such good benefits. They go so the places that they go. Same with the Navy, like that. The base Kings Bay, man, that place was like pristine. They hated us on Kings Bay, but yeah, the Navy and the Air Force, they have so much money that they don't know what to do with. But
well, that and like if I could redo everything, like not in a time travel situation where it's like you know, I have to erase my shit and then like start something different because I liked my shit. But like, I guess like if for whatever reason I got like a round 2 and I'm all of a sudden 18 years old again, I'd have went and been a fucking boatswain's mate in the Navy. So I was guaranteed to be on a fucking ship. It's like, yeah, all right. So I'm gonna like do some like dumb menial bullshit, like paint the boat for like a month, and then I'm gonna go like spend all that money in fucking Thailand, Singapore, Hong Kong. I didn't know they had this STD, but I fucking am spreading it.
Yeah, you know, and that's one of the things I wish I could have done back then. Is I never got to go on a Westpac. I never got to go to Thailand or Okinawa or any of those places.
Well, Okinawa's overrated. That place fucking sucks.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you, some of the stories I got, from that whole region are fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
And I did the different route. I hit all the strip clubs in Jacksonville and Vegas and everywhere in between. But I never got to experience
back then in the 90s.
What's that?
Was the Purple Church back in Oceanside still back in the 90s? I think its actual name was the Main Attraction. It was like right.
Yes. Yeah. Main Attraction. Yep.
They fucking closed that place a few years ago. Like I almost cried.
Yeah. But so, a bunch of my buddies, they all, went and did Westpacs and, some of the stuff, the pictures and different stuff that they have, like, man, I feel like I missed out on, on living through that.
Yeah.
But yeah, some of the stories that I got in, from those guys from over there, just fucking hilarious.
Well, when I was in Okinawa, it was awesome and it sucked at the same time. I didn't get to take in too much of the island because a couple of years before, some dude that was on his way from somewhere else to mainland, like had a long layover in Okinawa and then like raped and killed some chick. So they decided that because some stranger that came in that wasn't even stationed there, everyone that is stationed there wasn't allowed to leave base unless there was 4 of y'all, and then you weren't allowed to drink off post. You had to be back by midnight.
Yep.
But the PX didn't close till 2, and they didn't care how much liquor you had in the barracks. I remember one time fucking me and my buddies were out drinking. We're not out drinking. We're on the smoke pit. There's like 50 of us because we don't want to go outside or off base because you have to come back and like the bars aren't that fucking great. Yeah. So we're all fucking getting hammered, and this dude from like 9th Comm comes over, and he's like cool at first, and he starts talking a lot of shit, and then like me and my machine gunner buddies like kick the fuck out of him, and we drag him back to his barracks, chuck him at the OD, or not the OD, the fucking barracks duty, and then come back. Half an hour later, I'm sorry, in between that, like the OD shows up, and we like tell him what happens. Like, all right, that's whatever, fucking what happens in Okinawa stays in Okinawa. Be good kids, About half an hour after that, though, fucking that same kid comes running down the fucking like road towards the fucking barracks, and he's like, ah! Like war crying, right? We're like, okay, so we're gonna beat this dude's ass the second time. This dude's like 50 fucking feet away. Out of nowhere, the OOD pops up, clotheslines this dude, and starts like bashing his face in with fucking 9mm, and we're like, do we help? Like,
right?
What do we do? So we're like fucking like breaking bottles and shit. Like, all right, let's go kill this guy. Fuck it. And the OD's like, get the fuck back. And we're like, all right. And then the MP showed up and arrested the dude and whatever. But it's like, dude, I got to watch the OD almost kill a guy. That's
right. No shit. Yeah. And so I actually I worked with a couple Air Force MPs that were stationed over there. So they actually told me some good stories from over there about the Marines too. And, we had the only thing I could say, with like a lockdown. So I was in California in the, mid to late 90s, and TJ was off limits. I think for my last year there, the first year it was like, open season. We could go down there and do whatever the fuck we wanted.
Yeah, we were never allowed to go down there.
And then I want to say it was like 97, sometime in 97. We had 2 incidents like within the same week. A Navy guy got separated from his group, and I even know like the alleyway where they were at. He ended up getting beaten up, gotten raped, and then ended up making it way back to into the Old Crescent border. And then a couple of days later, a Navy wife was down with their kid, and they lost the kid, couldn't find the kid, shut down the border crossing, looking for him. And here what happened was a drug smuggler got the kid, killed him, cut him open, right? Stuffed him full of drugs, put like all his clothes and everything back on him and had him on his shoulders walking across the border. And somebody noticed like the outfit matched the picture that they had. And when they stopped to talk to the guy, they realized that the kid wasn't even, like moving or talking or, so they like detained him, and like within hours they shut off the border. They had a Navy guy. I think there was a Marine posted there too. I think they like alternated shifts, but they had somebody posted at the border that they were like, let me see your ID. Like, I mean, obviously, who the military are when you're down there crossing over, and they wouldn't let us cross over.
That's I do know a guy that got NJP'd for going down to TJ though. Only because it was off limits. Like, hey, listen, you're not allowed to go down there, fucking whatever. Yeah. And it was like walking through, and apparently the border guard dude was a former Marine. Saw the haircut, and he's like, I think that dude's a Marine. No, I'll be down here. So he goes, hey, devil dog. The dude turns around. He's like,
dumbass. Yeah, dumbass. I tell you what, I mean, I loved, TJ back then, from, 96, 97 while we were down there, man. It was just so much fun. We would be just absolutely trashed. You get across the border and there's a Jack in the Box that's right there on the border, man. That was like the best food fucking ever.
I miss Jack in the Box, and I fucking miss Del Taco.
Yeah, see, I was a huge Carl's Jr. fan.
Them too.
When we have them, we have Hardee's that's out here, yeah. But yeah, I miss it. I miss it too.
So speaking of Air Force buddies that have good stories, I'm imagining that Born in the Bar is all Marine stories. Or are you planning on doing a 2, 3, and 4 called like Flyboys, Dog Faces, and Squid?
So, my first thought, is number one, yes, I'm going to do a second book, as long as my wife lets me. I want to do the second one. I already kind of have titled as, another round, because it's going off the bar theme, another round. Yeah. And my hope is, the book that's coming out, maybe a third of it are my stories. Yeah. And then, the other 2/3 are stories that were submitted. And I know people out there have better stories than I do. You read them, you talk to people, and you're all the time like, dude, I need to have that story for the book. I'm not ready.
How badass you think you are, somebody's always cooler.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like at one time, somebody boot checked Chesty Puller. Like, it's just going to happen.
Yeah. And people are conservative, on having these stories. They're absolutely open to tell you at a bar, over drinks, but to put it in writing, like from something that happened like Thailand, hey, look, I'd love to share you the story of, the stripper with the banana, but now I'm married and I have kids and I don't want to put my name with that. All right, look, dude, I'll make up a name for you. Yeah. I'll say it was me. I don't care. Whatever. Nah, we'll just see. So I'm kind of hoping, that for the second book, it's going to be a lot less me and a lot more of other people who are like, dude, this book was shit. I had better stories than that. I'm going to send you one. And that's what I'm hoping for.
On one hand, like, that's like, man, you thought my book was shit. Oh, you got something juicy for me?
Yeah, exactly. Oh. And that's kind of the whole thing for this, the first book. I chose Save22.vet as my nonprofit that I'm going to be donating the proceeds to. And I thought, maybe for the second book, I'll pick another one. And I think after today, I think I kind of found one today. Most of today, I spent talking to one of the moms who her son committed suicide back in 2015. He was a Marine, and she's part of a group. It's 22 Too Many. And they have a group of like 360 families who are all like, they all talk all the time about their kids. And I was like, you know what? I think, if I end up doing a second book, I think I'm going to reach out to them and tell them, look, I'm going to have you as my, who I'm going to, send the money to. Yeah. It's, I planned on it. And then, maybe like the third one will be, something bar themish, last call, or, something like that. But I wanted to stick to just the Marines. I talked to a couple of my other buddies too, and who are in different branches, and they said, well, you should do one, for the other services. And I said, look, I gave you an idea, man, roll with it. You're in the Army, man. Do you fucking put out the book? You know, I
I
mean,
can't copyright this idea.
yeah, exactly. And you know, if somebody came to me from another branch and was like, "Hey, look, I'm thinking about doing this," and I would tell them the same thing, man, go for it. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, right now, um, you know, when I thought about doing this book, I didn't really see a whole lot of like military humor books that were coming up. Now over the last couple months, like I found different things. Like, you know, I found your book, you know, and I'm like, oh shit, like, you know, there is stuff out there. You know, it's a little bit different than what I did,
Yeah.
but there wasn't anything exactly like what I was doing.
Well, that and like the whole like military thing, it's a very niche thing. So like what you were saying earlier, like chicken soup for the soul, like yeah, that
Yeah,
that exists, but like that applies to everyone, not the 1% of the population that decided
yep.
to, you know, go do that too. But
Yeah,
at the same time, since you got like a hyper focused audience, then you can be like, hey dude, this is for not everybody. This is for
yeah,
you. This is for you, buddy.
yeah.
Here you go.
And that's exactly what I, you know, I put on there. And you know, I said, look, this is for Marines. I expect Marines will get all the stories in this book.
Yeah.
But then again, I mean, you know, so will, you know, Army, you know, they'll get it. I mean, anybody in the military is going to relate to a lot of these stories of the stupid shit that we do.
Yeah.
I mean, strip clubs are at every base worldwide. You know, they're
And being a 19-year-old asshole isn't
yeah,
necessarily a unique experience.
right. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. So, you know, and when I first started writing this, I wanted to have I wanted to reach out to an editor and have him go through and just, you know, like maybe change some things. But I said, I want to keep this as marine as possible. I want to just, you know, I'm going to write this, or whoever writes in these stories, we're not going to change it. Maybe we'll change a little bit, like look, checking out spelling, because not everybody's done the spelling for Marines.
Yeah.
You know,
Well that like, I didn't do that. I paid the S1 clerk to lie for me to get it done.
yeah, right. You had the answers. Nice.
Yeah.
Um,
That's what having cigarettes will fucking. Hey dude, you got to smoke? Yeah. You got those MCI answers?
Yeah. See, I was the MCI nerd. I had I probably have over 100 MCIs done, and I took some of the Army ones. But I mean, this was also the time back in, you know, the 90s and early 2000s, really before there was an internet.
Yeah.
You know, so when we were on duty, or you know, we were wherever, I would just, and I love to read, I love to learn stuff, so I just did them. But so when I had a friend of mine who read one of my stories that I posted on Facebook.
Yeah.
And she reached out to me and she said, you know, like, look, I love your story. Your story is hilarious. I think I can improve it if you're still looking for an editor. And she has no military experience whatsoever. She knows nothing about the military. And I say, Kat, I'm like, you know, like, all right, look, here's one. I sent her, I think I actually sent her 3. And she called me and she was like in tears. And she's like, it took me 3 days to get through the first one because I was laughing so hard at these stories. And she's known me forever. So we used to tailgate Philadelphia Eagles games. And I mean, you know, so she knows, you know, the drinking Jesse.
Yeah.
And so she was like, look, I'm on board. I'd really like to, you know, I'm thinking about getting into, you know, being an editor, like as a side job. You don't have to pay me. You don't. And I was like, no, look, I'm going to pay you. I want you to do something.
Yeah.
And, you know, so, I mean, she really kind of opened my eyes a little bit more on not just Marines reading it and military, but other people were going to want to read this.
Yeah.
Because it is funny. Now I mean, we really, I don't want to say we dumbed it down, but we made it so that anybody, any, you know, teenage kid who wants to join the military can read it and see the stupid shit that we do. I hope that my wife doesn't read it, you know, and I even, when I first started this, she like sat back and she would listen to my conversations on the phone, you know, with a bunch of my buddies would call up and we would be laughing and we'd be talking about different stuff. And she's also heard 2 of the main people in my book that I did some stuff with, Dave, my best friend, and JP, which who was also best man in our wedding. So she's heard a lot of the bits and pieces of stories. And she was like, I want to read one. And I was kind of hesitant. And I was like, all right, well, I mean, I guess you might as well, because you're going to read this book eventually at some point, right? Yeah. So I gave her one, and I shouldn't have, because I wasn't done with it. So
Oh, I thought you said you shouldn't have because it was like, all right, so imagine it, 1996,
Yeah.
Tijuana, the Donkey Show.
Yeah, exactly. But I picked out one that I knew she had already heard the story of, like, you know, so I.
Oh, what do we got?
All right. So this bottle.
Yeah, don't ever invite me to your house. That'll be gone. I mean, the bottle will still be there, but oh, did we freeze?
It's already gone. It's still it's just a memento of a drum. Oh, there we are. You good?
Yeah, now are we back?
Am I still here?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I froze there for a second.
Yeah. So my best friend Ski, when we got back from Iraq, I was going through a divorce, and we started this you know, drinking. We would go out on a Friday night, we go to Hooters, and then we go to a strip club.
Yeah.
So him and his wife, he EASs and moves back to West Virginia, where she's from. And, you know, at the time, you know, I was coming back up. My son was still in Pennsylvania, so I was still coming up on weekends to see him. And I was like, you know, I mean, like, it's out of the way, but if I leave on a Friday from Jacksonville, I'm not getting to Pennsylvania until midnight anyway. I might as well stop at your house, and then I can just wake up in the morning. It's only 3 hours. So I pull up the very first time, and this is Inwood, West Virginia.
Okay.
Right. And I pull up and I walk in their house, and I'm like, I've known like Ski all my life, and I introduced him to his wife. So I walked in and I was so excited, and I was like, dude, do you know what you've done? There is a strip club behind your fucking house. And I mean, it was literally like through his backyard, over the river, through the woods, into the parking lot.
With like a big sign that you can see for the highway.
Yes.
Truckers
Yeah.
coming in.
Vixens.
Purple and
right?
fucking. I know where that's at. I've been there. I've fucking been there.
That's where I got this from.
Nice.
So we started like, you know, every other weekend. I would go up there, stop in on Friday. We go to the strip club. And one night, I really liked the bartender. The first time, let me back up. So the first time we go in there, we're thinking like this is backwoods fucking West Virginia. This is going to be like, you know, this is going to be a shithole, no teeth. Like, this is going to be comedy in itself, just going there. Right.
Yeah.
Because I've been to strip clubs all over. And, you know, you think like Vegas, they're great. San Diego, they're great. Florida, they're great. I wasn't expecting a whole lot in Inwood, West Virginia. Well, it turns out that there's several colleges within 20 or 30 miles that all these girls go to, and they go to this little strip club, and it was fucking amazing. It's to date, you know, just from the experience of it, and the place is probably like my favorite strip club I've ever been to anywhere. It was beautiful inside. It was nice. It wasn't sticky carpets like the Driftwood in Jacksonville. The girls were all hot. They had a bar where they cooked like steaks and burgers and, you know, whatever. So I got to know the bartender a little bit. We always used to flirt with her. And one night she gave us these little stirs, right?
Okay.
For a drink. And I did exactly this. And I was like, hey, I got a game for us. Right. We're going to throw these, and whatever bottle that we make it on, we're going to do shots of. So it started off good. I mean, we were doing, you know, Jack and Coke and, you know, rum and Coke, tequila and Coke, you know, whatever. And by the end of the night, we were trashed. And they had this bottle of Ace of Spades with the $450 little, you know, ticket on it. And I was like, Dave, I fucking want this. Right. So I threw it and fucking right on the goddamn bottle.
Nice.
So they come in, and she's like, look, I can't give that to you. The drink, you have to buy the whole bottle, and it comes with the VIP roped off area. And I said, look, you know, I don't want the VIP area. I'm good. I want to stay here. I want to talk to you, you know, because that's the one I liked.
Yeah.
So manager comes out, and he's like, are you sure? Like, you don't want, it comes with one of the strippers. Like,
it's like, listen, bro, I'm here for the liquor. Like the girls are cool, but like I'm fucked up right now. All right.
Yeah. And I said, look, listen, like we love coming in here. You know us. We come in here all the time. I love talking to Tamara. It's, you know, I'm good right here. I don't need the VIP room. Yeah. And so he was like, all right. So he gave us both t-shirts and gave us like a stack of, you know, get in free. And like, awesome. Well, I woke up that next morning and I had this fucking bottle, and I'm like, I don't fucking drink champagne. What happened with this? Like, so this has kind of been our, thing. And I said, like, hey, I'm going to drink this bottle when the Eagles win the Super Bowl. Well, they finally did. In like 10 years after I won this,
Yeah.
Or I bought this, I guess I would say,
Yeah.
they won the Super Bowl. So we got to drink it. So she knows the story basically behind this bottle. She doesn't know all of the details, which I put into the story. And I thought this was kind of a safe story for her to read.
Yeah.
And of course, when you're writing a story, and I kind of wrote it first. And then, like, I'll go back and I'll edit some details out.
Yeah.
And I put in there about our Hooters trip. And one of the girls at Hooters that I used to see, like, just had really nice tits. And I put in the book, Kate has the nicest tits you'll ever see. Right?
That's going to be fun for your wife to read. Yeah. Oh, I didn't meet you yet, babe. Sorry.
And that's the first thing she says. Oh, she's got the nicest tits you've ever seen. And I was just like, oh, fuck. Okay.
Whoops.
Maybe I shouldn't have let you read this until I was done. Because maybe, and I ended up changing the words to it to, like, Kate has the most expensive tits her, husband at the time could buy, or something like that. But she was like, is this a book that you really want your kids to read? And I started laughing, and I was like, no, not really. Like, I kind of hope they don't read it at least until they're college level, or, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was kind of like, my wife, well, there's some stories, and even with my editor, like, we were talking, and because I, always joke about my third wife, it's, either 3 strikes and you're out, or third time's the charm. I said, I don't know. It depends on how this book does. And, so that's kind of it,
Positive mental attitude, man.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. But there, so that was kind of you look at other people when, they're married, and now it's, 20 years ago, and this good story, and they don't want to really tell you, like, look, I don't want to put that. I can't do this. All right. Okay. And then, you hear stories, like, I don't know if you ever heard the story about I think it was a Lance Corporal that stole an airplane while he was stationed at El Toro in California.
I think I've heard the story. I'm not, like, super intimate on the details, though.
Yeah. So, he was, I guess, like, before he joined the Marines, he, did a lot of glider flying. He used to fly planes, and he really wanted to become an officer, become a pilot. So he had a lot of hours, in aircraft.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, he had some kind of, I don't remember the complete details, but he had a health issue that was going to prevent him from becoming a pilot. So July 4th, I don't remember what year, like 1980s or something, he got into an A4 and took off from El Toro. Got in. The base was closed. Nobody was out. No tower.
No, see, when you started this, I thought you meant, like, he stole, like, a Cessna or something.
Yeah, no.
Not a fucking fighter jet.
Yeah. So apparently, like, he flew around, like, San Diego for like a half an hour before he brought it back and safely landed it. That's kind of the stories. Like I would love to fucking hear, because there's, you see all the time. I mean, we hear the stories from Lance Corporal Underground of, people stealing Humvees and 7 tons and all that shit, from, wherever. And then they, leave them out in the woods or, whatever.
But, like, there's been, like, one person in every company that's done that.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I know, yeah. And I know from, going to parties, back in the early 90s on base, I mean, they were jumping off the 3rd fucking floor on mattresses and shit. Like those. Yeah. So there's
nothing changes.
yeah, nothing changes. So, there's those stories out there, and that's kind of what I'm hoping. I'm hoping to continue, this series, or at least as long as I can. I mean, I have some other ideas for some books too. Really just highlight veterans.
Yeah.
So I mean, we'll see. I mean, this book, I didn't really know what it took to write a book until I wrote it.
Yeah, there's a lot of shit that people don't realize. One of the big ones, though, is sitting on your ass and actually fucking writing the thing, which is a lot harder than people fucking, like, realize. Like, Oh, you're just typing, right? There's nothing wrong with that. It's like, dude, no.
Yeah. How many books have you written? I know, I think I saw 3 of them on Amazon.
I have 6 out. I should have the 7th out in December if my timeline stays the right way, and then 8 and 9 the next couple months. So.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So, I mean, so you're a lot, more experienced than I was. I thought it was going to be easy. Hey, look, these are Marines. I mean, obviously, they're not great at putting masterpieces together, but it shouldn't be that hard, to put this whole thing together. Yeah. And then the longer it took to for editing, going back and changing stuff. And, I can't even tell you how many reams of paper I went through because, my OCD, and I wanted it to be perfect.
Yeah.
And I wanted to make sure, no cliffhangers or, if it's a 2-page story, I don't want it to be 1 page and then you have to turn the next page for it to end. So it was a lot of moving stuff around.
A big fucking thing too.
Yeah. And I wanted that the flow, I wanted it, so I kind of started off my stories with boot camp, which, and actually I have to tell you, so the whole story that, that started this book was from boot camp. So for the book, I, kind of started off with this tale from boot camp. I had a drill instructor. So we had 4 drill instructors, 3 of them were recon and 1 was infantry. And they told us fucking great stories. And one drill instructor that I had, Sergeant Davis, would tell these fucking great, these were like Sergeant Davis's bedtime stories.
Yeah.
And, he would always say I mean, they may or may not have been true. They were Marines that he knew of, whatever, but these stories were fucking hilarious. So he told us this story one night about going out with a chick and coming home. He stayed at her house and he wakes up the next morning and he's sitting on the steps and he's putting on his boots, getting ready to leave. And her 2 kids are sitting at the kitchen table, eating, crunching, cereal, watching cartoons as he's leaving. And it stuck out in my mind because I have a story that absolutely mirrors that, but 15 years later.
Yeah. And that's kind of, you're not allowed to talk about it because they're still in.
Yeah. So, I started that off as the beginning of my story, and that's where it came from. And then I, from boot camp, we went to MOS schools, and then the fleet, going through my time, and I tried to fit stories in as I thought that they would fit, because obviously you have somebody from the 80s. I couldn't do it chronologically because it just didn't fit with the story, how it would go. So I had a lot of moving around and changing things. And what I realized, that I really didn't know was some of the stuff using Word. I use Word all the time. I've written all kinds of, papers for college. I can do this. Not a problem. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, there's a lot more to Word than just
good
typing.
God.
That's a huge fucking program that nobody knows anything to fuck about.
I couldn't figure out why. I was looking at it side by side. You had one on one side, one on the other. And I was trying to look at it, how the book would read.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, it kept going from page 15 to 17 and it would swap them. And I was like, I don't fucking know what's going on with this. And it took me a good 8 hours of messing with it. I finally put it into a PDF and I realized that there was a blank page on page 16. So somehow I put a page break when I was messing with trying to get the page numbers right for the intro. No, there's no pages on the blank title page. And then there's Roman numerals of the introduction, and then your 1 and your first page. So while I was figuring that bullshit out, I put a page break in and then another page break. So it gave me a blank page that I couldn't see when I was scrolling through Word. Yeah. Man, I tell you, it was just a professional probably would have noticed. If I would have gone to a professional agency, publisher, they probably would have said, just send it to me I'll fix it. I'll give it back to you. No problem. Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, there was a lot that really went into just, things that we take for granted. We have acronyms for fucking everything. And it's just almost like a common knowledge. You just expect people to know what MOS is. Well, what's an MOS? You know, like if you're not in the Marines, you don't know what an MOS is. Fucking the
Yeah,
Air
and my
Force doesn't
favorite is
even call it an MOS.
yeah, my favorite is TLA, a 3-letter acronym.
Yeah, yeah.
It's an acronym for the
So yeah, uh, there's just so much that you realize that you do, that somebody else out there doesn't understand. So we worked through a lot of that, and I told my editor, like, look, I want to try and keep this as military as possible. I mean, that's what I'm gearing it to. That's what we're trying to help. We're trying to help veteran suicide. I understand that, civilians are probably going to read this. Some of my friends are going to want to read this. And then getting involved with the 22 too many, and like the parents of these Marines and everybody, they want to read it. So I really had to try and draw it back just a little bit, that anybody could read it. Now, whether they're going to, what they're going to think of us after, read it, but at least they'll be able to read it and understand, and not be like having to go to Google and type in, what does COC mean? What does, whatever.
Right. So I'm going to tell you one of my buddy's stories. But if you're next one, when you're getting stories together, let me know. I'll put you in contact with some characters. But I had a friend, friggin', we're just going to call him Jeff. But they just got back from Iraq, like, and this is like early 2004, like, they invaded Iraq and came back. And one of the fucking dudes in his friggin' company couldn't take it, and on their next field up, he goes into a porta shooter and puts a bullet in his fucking head. But he was also in Suicide Company 37.
Yeah.
So when his parents call the command about their son killing themselves, the company clerk picks up the phone and goes, "Suicide Company, how may we help you?"
Oh man.
And they're like, "What the fuck? Is this some kind of a sick joke?" And the dude's like, "Oh fuck, hold on, let me put you on the phone with the captain." So goes up to the commanding officer, "Suicide Company, Captain, whoever, how may I help you, sir, ma'am?"
Oh man.
Which is like, that's kind of fucked up, but it's like, oh.
Yeah, we definitely, God,
That's not something everybody laughs at.
Yeah.
I've told that story to a few people, and I do, what the fuck is wrong with you? Why are you telling that story? I'm like, that was funny as shit.
Yeah. And, when I first, so I did a dedication page.
Yeah.
And I think that was actually like the hardest part of this book. And I wanted to make it like perfect. And I messed with it. I came up with 100 different ideas on how I could do it. And basically what I did is, I mean, you'll see it eventually, but I did kind of a wall with all of their names. And then I put some dog tags. And what I did is I did 44, with a, look at 22 a day is kind of what they estimate. If it takes you 2 days to read this book, 44 veterans would have, committed suicide in the time that you read this book.
Yeah.
And then at the end,
like, deep leveled shit though.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have thought of that.
Yeah. And that, I put out on Facebook and I was like, hey, look, if anybody has family or knows somebody that they're family with, I wanted to try and get permission first. Because I mean, I have plenty of people that I know, who know somebody who's committed suicide, but with my book and the content, I wanted to make sure that a family member knew, hey, look, this is a book about drinking and strippers and stupidity. Do you want your kid's name on this dedication wall? So it took a little bit. And then when I got a hold of Melissa at 22 Too Many, she started giving me a lot of names. And that was very difficult for me to start putting those in because it's real. I mean, it was very real for, the first couple names that are on there because I know them and I know their family. And then, you start seeing like all these other families who, here's these names and these names and these names. And it's like fuck, I hope I'm doing the right thing. Like, I don't, it's funny to talk at the bar, or you and I, and we talk about strippers, it's not serious. And then you're like, hey, are you okay with, your son who, killed himself, putting their name on a book like this? And overwhelmingly, what I really got back was, look, I know my son was a Marine through and through. and he would have enjoyed reading these stories. So making their name, be a part of something. And they always say, look, you don't really die until your name isn't said ever again. So putting their name into something that somebody else is going to read, it continues their life and what they did. So it was very difficult. I mean, it was very taxing, man. I lost sleep trying to, figure out how I could do it right and how I wasn't going to piss anybody off and how,
Yeah, because that's something you want to fuck up,
Yeah. So yeah, that was tough, but and the names just started rolling in, and I was just like, oh my God, like how do I make this, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to it.
Man, I am too.
Yeah, because like once you get it out, it's like, oh shit, I'm done. Fucking thank God. Fuck.
Yeah, that's what my editor said too. Like, Jesus Christ, like fuck, thank God this is done. This is done. And I mean, for me, it's also one of these times where like November, at the end of October, I'm like completely swamped. When I started this, I had my own timeline, and I was like, look, I can get everything done by this time. Plenty of time. That was me being a newbie on writing a book. Now I know it doesn't know those timelines don't fucking work for anything. For me right now, I'm also a soccer coach. I coach my son on his 7 and 9U soccer team. I'm part of the soccer board. I had this 5K run. I'm the director of my own work, family. You have all this stuff that's all like this time. And it's like, holy shit, I got no fucking time. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I can't hear you. Did you mute?
Oh, wait. No, am I back?
Yep. Now you're back.
Yeah, no, that's something people don't fucking think about. It's like, oh yeah, you're a writer, so like you make all your money off your books and you don't work and you just sit home and write all day. It's like, no, you're welcome for this happening in the fucking first place.
Yeah. And then I mean, some people, that I've talked to about it, they kind of like, oh, it's a funny book. Like you're like a comedian or what? Like, no, I'm not funny. I'm not like that. I just, I have some funny stories that I wanted to put in. Oh, okay. Well, like how much money do you think you're going to make from this? Like, fuck, if I break even, like I'll be happy. Like, I mean, and the whole goal was, hey, look, if I can donate $5,000 to Save 22, I would be fucking ecstatic.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of stuff that, that really goes into writing books and, doing that kind of stuff that you don't really think about. But it's been a fun experience. I've had days where I feel like shit. And then I'll talk to a buddy and I'm like, hey, I want to talk to you about a story. All right, yeah, man. I got time. I'll fit you in somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I'm going to fit you in. I got 15 minutes here. It turns into an hour and a half phone call because we're bullshitting about all kinds of stuff. And you know what? Like my day has just gotten better because I fucking talked to you about, something stupid from fucking 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's been a fun experience. And I said, I'm really looking forward to hopefully doing a second one, maybe a third one. I got some other ideas, to do.
Well, I mean, like if you're passionate about it and like that's like something you want to do, you'll find a way to fit it in. Which
and I love talking to people, especially Marines. We're all the same mind. I think we have the same mentality on like a third grade level.
Yeah. But and two things of that though. The first one's like a book related thing. The other one's like a story thing that maybe not to toot my own horn, but you might be able to use for something later. But the thing about that is like especially for like unknown fucking like people like us, like fucking we might have a Facebook following or whatever, but like big script, we're not celebrities. First book is probably gonna fucking kind of not flop, but like nobody knows who you are, so like nobody's really gonna buy it unless they like find it somewhere it gets recommended to a friend. But like by the second or third book, like it starts ramping up. So like if you release it and like it's your reaction is just like, oh, okay, so that went meh. It's like, well, I mean, dude, no, you got to put some time and effort into it. Like, shit sucks when you're a private. It got better when you're a lance corporal. It got better when you're a sergeant. Like it works its way up. It's time and effort. The other thing though, so this was right after I EAS. I was driving to Pennsylvania. I spent a couple weeks in Houston because I had a bunch of friends there. And I'm gonna call this dude I'm also gonna call this dude Jeff, not his real name.
Yeah, Jeff's fine.
Yeah, but I went to MOS school with Jeff. Did my first deployment with him. Hadn't seen him in fucking 5 years at this point. I'm like, well, dude, I'm driving across country. I'll stop by and fucking hang out. So, we go to this fucking like oyster bar in fucking Houston, and we're drinking. We're having a good time. We're getting like really fucked up, and he's at the time like a 30-ish-year-old dude, and he's dating a 19-year-old because why not? Anyway, also he's also like one of those dudes that's like 6'3" and like 200 pounds and like no fat, and she's also like 15 fucking pounds. Anyway, she's not there yet. Excuse me. But we're getting blitzed, and he, I guess, was supposed to go see a movie or something with his girlfriend. He was like, hey, sorry, my buddy came into town, can't go see the movie with you. Sorry. If you want to come hang out though, we can hang out. And then apparently the text message he got back was like, dude, I'm 19, I can't go to a fucking bar, you fucking idiot. Anyway, we leave the fucking bar, and she's like in the fucking parking lot.
Oh
and
shit!
She's like pissed the fuck off. She comes up, starts punching him in the face and shit. But like it's like she's like punching up, and he's just kind of like sitting there taking it. Just like all right, well, I guess this fucking sucks, whatever. But like she got a real good jab on the nose, so he grabs her by the neck and picks her up. And I'm like, oh god damn it, fucking. So I jump on his back and start choking him out, right? Because it's like, yeah, listen, I'm on your side, but like, she weighs 15 pounds and we're drunk, fucking whatever. So I get him choked out, and she like runs off. And then he wakes up and he's like, dude, what the fuck happened? I was like, you choked out your girlfriend, so I choked you out. He's like, oh, did I really? God damn it, fuck. So he's like mad at himself, right? So we're like, all right, yeah, so we should probably go to bed then, like go find somewhere to crash, because like bad things are only gonna happen if we keep drinking. But then like fucking the cops start pulling into the fucking parking lot. So we're like, all right, get the fuck out of here. So we run into the bar across the fucking street. And then while the cops are coming in after us, we like slip out into the alleyway and come into like a different fucking establishment. On the way to the car, not an Uber because we're stupid. On the way to the car, I take a selfie with the fucking cop car. Instagram real quick, and then we get in the car and we drive like 45 minutes to the other side of Houston, because Houston's fucking huge, and we go to this strip club called I think it was called Colorado's. It looks like an old hunting cabin on the inside, except for it was huge, purple lights, fucking whatever. And like I got medically separated, so I had like a nice severance fucking package, right? So I go to the fucking ATM, I pull out fucking $500 fucking dollars. I'm like, let's fucking do this. So I sit down fucking front row right at the stage, and the music comes on. DJ's like, all right, introducing Candy, or whatever the fuck her name is. She comes out, she fucking pulls off her fucking bikini, fucking tits right out. I exorcist puke 10 feet onto this chick's tits, just like straight up like vomit bukkake. And then like I'm like, oh fuck, I just did that. And then like as the security guards are coming in, like I'd put all my cash out on the table. Like, I'm sorry, ma'am, I must leave. And then she's just like screaming in shock. And then like my face got fucked up because I got thrown onto the fucking pavement outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Yeah, that's a good story. I can use that in the next book.
Yeah,
absolutely.
No, I'll donate it.
Yeah. I got a couple stories from Texas. One of them, we went to Fort Hood for a regimental shoot for 2 weeks. This is while I was in the reserves in like I can't remember if it was 2008 or 2009, and so I was a forward observer. So our hill group was very small. I mean, we were very close. I was a gunny at the time, but when we would go out with the Lance Corporals. They would hang out with us, corporal, sergeant. We were very close as a team. So after 2 weeks of being fucked on chow at the hill, we were looking forward to a drinking. Like, we're going out on Libo and we're gonna have some fun.
I'm gonna go for you to speak English real quick.
Yeah. So the choices were San Antonio and whatever the fucking college town that was over there. I can't remember. But we chose San Antonio because I knew the Alamo was there, and that was on my bucket list. Like, I want to see the Alamo at some point. So we get on the bus. It's a 2-hour ride from Fort Hood to San Antonio, and I, put together this plan. I'm like, okay, look, you two are going to go get this. I got all the beer. We'll buy beer. You get the hotel room. We had it planned out. Within like a half an hour, we already had drank like 2 cases of beer. There's only like 6 of us. We went through 2 cases of beer the first half hour. We were doing chicken fights on the hotel of the Hilton on this river. Have you ever been to San Antonio?
Oh yeah, no, I love that little like thing.
The river walk.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this river walk, for everybody else, it's a nice family, fun little.
It's almost like a mall, but like it's outside, and there's like a river that goes through it.
Yeah, there's a little river that runs, by a bunch of the hotel chains. So we're in the Hilton. We got a room at the Hilton so we could shower, change. Well, we met 2 girls in the hotel elevator, and we went up to the pool, and we're doing chicken fights with these girls on our shoulders.
Yeah.
So
one does.
Yeah, we're out of beer. We go downstairs in the lobby, and we're sitting outside in the bar area of the Hilton. And these gondolas are coming by. Right. So now we're all from like Eastern Pennsylvania. We're all like Eagles fans, except for one Pittsburgh Steelers fan that's with us. And one of the guys that was with us, Smitty, starts going, with this Ric Flair, woo, as the gondola goes by. And they did it back. So it stuck. We started doing this to every gondola for the rest of the night. First couple were cool. And then one came by that had a Dallas Cowboys shirt on, and we started this "fuck the Eagle" or "fuck the Cowboys" chant. So we got kicked out of like 4 or 5 bars over the next couple hours because we were completely fucking just
assholes,
right? We only had like 8 hours of libo, and we were just trash. We were, fuck the Cowboys. It sounded good at first. Yeah. And then, as the more it goes along, you're no longer in tune. Everything's getting dicked up.
So pretty much what you're doing is my collar might say Gunnery, but my heart says Lance Corporal.
Yeah, absolutely. So the bus actually drops us off at the steps of the Alamo. And I said, at some point, we need to come back here. We got to come back here. I got to see the Alamo. 5 hours later, we made it to Hooters. All right. I remember sitting at the Hooters. I don't remember getting anything else after the Hooters. Like, I don't remember eating. I don't, whatever.
Time traveling.
Yep. I remember petting the police horse right outside of the Alamo where the bus picked us back up at midnight, getting onto the bus. And I don't remember shit after that. Right. Somebody took a picture. So I have a picture in the book of me, like, in the back of the bus. One of my FOs, his head's in my fucking lap, just knocked out. Wake up in the morning. All right. This is when I first come on Fort Hood. Most people, if they're from Texas, they're probably aware, like steers and, all this shit that's just all over the place. Well, I've never seen a steer before. So, coming on to Fort Hood, it was like, wow, that's pretty cool. Like, they just kind of roam around the whole base. Just like every other base has, elk or deer or, whatever. Well, they had steers on Fort Hood.
Or the buffalo on Pendleton that you wouldn't think would be in fucking SoCal. Like, what's buffalo doing between San?
I have a good buffalo story for you then sometime too.
Yeah.
So I'm laying in the back of this Humvee, and I'm fucking hearing this noise, and I'm like, what the fuck is that noise? I mean, it's 6 a.m., 5:30, sun's up. It's already fucking 90 degrees. I'm sweating out the alcohol that I drank the night before. I got, sticker from patches or whatever from all the bars that we went to. And I'm just like, man, what a fucking night. This was great. What the fuck is that noise? And I look up outside, and there's just fucking cat or a steer, whatever the hell it was, standing right next to the Humvee, just fucking chewing grass. And he's like, moo. And I'm just like laughing, like, what the fuck did we just do? Like, this is incredible. This, I'm going to remember this for fucking ever. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, fucking truck stories are fucking great. Fucking, there was, there's this guy Fabry, and I used to feel bad about telling this story just because, like, Fabry got killed in fucking 2010 and fucking Sangan. But I'm like real close to this family now. And then, like, after I told his mom the story, she's like, dude, you need to tell more people that. That's great. But like, well, actually, there's a few stories about him. But like the first one was fucking, we were at somebody's house on base housing, and like for whatever reason, there's like fucking 50 of us fucking there. And fucking Fabry passes the fuck out on the couch with his shoes on, and we're like, well, it's Friday. Fucking, he ain't got nothing to do tomorrow. Fucking, he's on the sleep on the couch with his fucking shoes on. Let's draw on his face, So, fucking, this dude is just like tatted up with fucking like Sharpie fucking shit. He's got like fucking, like dicks and sickles and hammers and all this fucking shit all over him.
That should be.
Yeah. Anyway, fucking, we're still awake at like fucking 5 when his like alarm starts going off on his fucking phone, and we're like, why is your alarm going off? He's like, dude, I got barracks duty today. And we're like, oh shit.
Oh my god.
So we're like trying to like wash the shit off his fake shit, and we got it all off. Except for we all missed the giant swastika on the back of his fucking head. So on Monday, fucking a lot of us had to go talk to the first sergeant about like why the fucking Lance Corporal in our shop fucking showed up at the barracks duty on Saturday morning, hungover with a swastika on the back of his fucking head. And we're like, yeah, sorry, that's our bad. We're doing this, doing that, whatever. And then like we got a pretty good ass chewing, but like nobody got paid at work, so it's all right.
Yeah. That's funny. Yeah, and I mean, I've gotten very lucky over my time that I was in, with a lot of the stuff that I did. I probably deserve several NJPs.
We should all be in the brick.
Yeah, absolutely. Luckily, I mean, I had good leaders, that really looked out for us, and it was like, look, this was fucking. I got arrested while I was in Kings Bay, Georgia, with 4 other guys.
Were you doing anything fun?
We were fucking with a guy in a Jeep. We decided we were going to take everything off of his Jeep and leave it in the parking lot. And an old lady who lived in the apartment complex called the police, and it was like cops on location in Jacksonville, Florida. Yeah. They surrounded us, and we were like, oh, like we're so fucked.
Wait, where are you at in Jacksonville? Like, I'm originally from there.
Jacksonville, Florida?
Yeah. Go Jags.
I don't remember where exactly well, I know it was Duval County. We spent 14 days in Duval County. I guess it wasn't prison, but whatever it was, Duval County Jail. Yeah. But because Kings Bay was exit 1 out of Florida, so we were always in either Jacksonville, Daytona, or like Fort Myers.
Yeah.
But yeah, we ended up going to jail. They arrested us. And the guy who we were fucking with, he said, look, I'm not pressing charges. He cut us off on the highway or something. I don't remember why we singled him out.
Yeah.
But we did. I mean, we didn't really, we weren't destroying anything. We weren't doing anything, but obviously, we shouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
So they arrested us for burglary and burglary tools because in the back of the guy who we went down there, he had tools in the back of his car, which like most.
Yeah. God forbid you have tools to fix the fucking car in the back of your car.
So they wanted to charge us for a felony burglary tools, which they ended up dropping down. But we spent 14 days in Duval County before the public attorney came in and talked to us, and she was like, look, I think we're going to push this. The judge wants to push this back off like 2 more weeks. And I stopped her and I was like, listen, like, man, like, you're really fucking with us right now. Like, it's one thing that, got arrested, but now you're talking about, desertion. I mean, we're over 30, can be over 30 days. I'm like, you're ruining our lives at this point.
Yeah.
And so she came back like a day or 2 later, and she was like, okay, listen, here's what we're going to do. The county has said, you'll be able to do a pretrial intervention, which you do. I think we had to do like 100 hours of community service. But
that close, fucking all right, cool. I'll come down and pick up trash on the weekends or whatever.
Yeah. So, we got really lucky because the Marine Corps, because we did this pretrial intervention, we didn't have a conviction, and the Marine Corps couldn't really do anything. They couldn't charge us. And security forces in Kings Bay, Georgia was a PRP command. So we all had security clearances that we could have lost.
Yeah.
But like I said, we had some people that looked out for us. We had a good commander, a good sergeant major.
Yeah. Cause if you had a dickhead first sergeant, he could have fucked you up.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And there's other time. I mean, I always make the joke about, page 11. So I had so many page 11s, they had to turn to page 12.
That's good.
Yeah. and some of them I deserve. A lot of them were from, shitty schools and, whatever. But one of them is, driving an LAV in the excessive speed limits, posted speed limits, which I definitely was doing. But we had a lieutenant that, sat and timed us driving between signs, and I was probably doing twice the speed limit.
I was testing the limits of the vehicle to know what my limits were in combat. This is training, sir.
Exactly. But we had good sergeants. I over 18 years, I've had good sergeants, good staff sergeants, good officers, who, really mentored a lot of us, where they could have really fucked us, and it would have been a shame, because, I look back and like I say, over 18 years, I don't feel like I wasn't special. I didn't do anything special. I was a fucking Marine. I did my job. I feel, I feel like I was in the middle of the boat. I didn't really fuck anything up, and I didn't really do anything that was exemplary, but they were there and they could say, look, you're just as good as everybody else. We're not going to lose good Marines because of, stupidity at the time, or whatever. And you look back now, and once now I'm a gunny, and I'm looking at some of these kids, and I'm like, man, if you only fucking knew half the shit I did when I was a fucking PFC Lance Corporal, like, like, I'm not going to fuck you. And some of them are surprised when you take them aside and you talk to them, and you're like, look, I'm gonna, officially counsel you on what you did and why it's wrong, and, on professionalism, or, whatever, but that's as far as it's going to go. I'm not going to fuck you. I don't want to do that. You're a Marine. You're young. You're going to learn from your mistakes, but I'm not going to get rid of you. And when you talk to those Marines like that, it really makes a difference. They're like, oh shit, and I know how close I was to fucking losing everything over something stupid. Like, they could have ended my career. And I was only at that point, I was only in for fucking like a year. I think I was a PFC at the time when I got arrested.
Fresh.
Yeah. And, some of them, you make mistakes, and you shouldn't have to end your career, over that. Now, again, this is back in the 90s, early 2000s, where now, like, you see stuff, and leadership has really changed, where people are getting just, kicked out of the Marine. I mean, you look, back 5 years ago, 6 years ago, when they were kicking Marines out, or not letting them re-enlist because of tattoos. How fucked up is that? Really? Like, how many infantry guys, or SF guys did you lose because of tattoos?
Yeah,
That's
some
fucking stupid.
Like how the fuck does that affect anything?
Yeah. Now, I mean, I'm on the, on the side of fucking tattoos. If you want a tattoo, get a tattoo. I don't have any.
Yeah.
But like, I can't understand why you would say you're unprofessional as a Marine. And you look at fucking people who are Marines, and you're like, God damn, I expect them to have tattoos.
Yeah. Like, as far as I'm concerned, like, I think it should be like, you can't have any tattoos that you can see in dress blue alphas. So not on your neck, face, or hands.
Right. Yep. Absolutely.
But even then, fucking, like, the Navy and the Army can have, like, fucking shit on their hands, or, like, not on their face, but the rest of their head. And it's like fucking, I was on Fort Bragg for a while, and I'd see dudes walking around that had, like, skulls tattooed on the back of their fucking head that was the size of your fist. It's like,
yeah.
I mean, granted, they could also, like, grow their hair out and cover that up, which isn't, like, a jarhead option, but
yeah. I always hated Fort Bragg. We used to go down there for artillery. We always used to call it rolling blunder, because every time we went down there, it fucking rained. It was cold. Shit fucking happened. I mean, it was just a shitty.
Well, that's like, because you can't shoot on Lejeune, right?
Yeah, we can shoot on Lejeune.
You can shoot on Lejeune? Well, why the fuck are you guys going to Bragg then? The reason that Bragg was such a big deal with the Marines is because you couldn't shoot on Lejeune.
No, yeah, we have a range on Lejeune. And so, I mean, even Lejeune, I mean, we used to actually shoot across a road, where I think they, at one point, they dropped a round short, and it ended up killing, like, a lieutenant colonel's family, because it hit the road, and, like, the road was supposed to be shut off, and I guess it wasn't. That was, like, I think that was supposed to be, like, early 2000s or something. But yeah, we used to shoot on Lejeune. I'm sure they still do. I mean, I haven't been to Lejeune since I left Lejeune in 2008, but I'm sure they're, they were still shooting on there. But it was a different, camp, or Fort Bragg. I mean, it was just a different location. We did Rolling Thunder, and I mean, we would hook up with other different units and do all that stuff. But yeah, it always sucked because I think it was probably like April or May. So it was like the rainy season. So it was always fucking shitty. It was always shitty.
Going up to fucking Pineland to fight Pinelandians.
Yeah. 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 What other? What's your favorite? Where's your favorite location? East Coast or West Coast?
West Coast.
Really?
Fucking yeah. I was never stationed in Lejeune, but I did a decent amount of TAD there. Didn't fucking like it. Like I'm from Florida, but like I don't need hot muggy shit anymore. Like, I'll take the fucking desert. That and like like fucking politics aside, like I really fucking do like fucking California. And like my first duty station was Pendleton, and I spent a lot of time there, and then went to Quantico, and then came back to Tornado Palms, and like I just really fucking like at least the San Diego and like Los Angeles, fucking Vegas triangle, fucking area. I guess
I loved California, and I love going back to Cal. I would never live there.
Yeah,
but I was out there at I was 20 to 22. And that's what, I mean, pretty much ended my first marriage. I mean, you got a 21-year-old in Southern California, man. It's just not good for a relationship.
Yeah.
But it's so expensive. I love it out there, but yeah, now, like if I had to choose now, like I love the East Coast. I hate New Jersey, and I hate the winter anymore. I'm ready to move south. I'd love to move back to North Carolina and not have winter.
Yeah.
I have a motorcycle, so I'd love to drive. Ride it year round again.
It's like you get half a centimeter of snow in February for like 2 days, and then like
yeah. So I miss it. I loved being in North Carolina. Like I mean, it's just so laid back. We were talking about traffic. I lived right outside the main gate before I went to Iraq, and it wasn't bad. Like I would get there early enough and it was just right around the loop and you were in. And then I decided, when I got back from Iraq, we were going to move a little bit further away from the base because I mean, it was political. You couldn't go anywhere, inside Jacksonville proper and not run into some, gunny first sergeant major who was going to, yell at you because you didn't shave that morning or you weren't wearing a belt. And I was like, fuck this. I want to move away a little bit. I want to get away from Marines as much as I can. And we moved out to Richlands, which is about 20 minutes from the main gate. This is, the area where you could go into a Food Lion wearing flip-flops, a wife beater t-shirt, not shaved for 3 days, and no one gives a fuck. Like it was great. And I'm not like, I mean, you can see like I've been out for, 15 years and I still have the haircut and I still shave. But it was nice that you didn't have that pressure. You didn't have to, I don't have to worry about, okay, now here's a PFC that I have to correct for doing something stupid. The only drawback was coming from Richlands to the main gate is now like a 30-40 minute drive because 15 minutes to get there and then 30 minutes of traffic. Like it just fucking sucked.
Yeah, no, that was also one of the advantages of Tornado Palms because like nobody gave a fuck out there, like to the point to where we got rounded up in the base theater to get yelled at by some gunny from Quantico at headquarters Marine Corps because he was doing an experiment where he would wear a pink shirt under his camis and like go base to base and like walk around in the PX and see how long it takes him to get yelled at. Yeah. And apparently he went to fucking Lejeune, didn't get inside before somebody's like, hey, Gunny, like what's up? Got to Tornado Palms, walked around the base for 2 fucking hours
and nobody said shit.
Like, fuck it, whatever, dude.
Yeah. Oh fuck, and that's exactly it, man. I mean, it's such a different mentality, Yeah, I can definitely see that. But yeah, Camp Lejeune, man. Like, I loved it and I hated it at the same time. It was so great. I mean, but getting off base. And my best friend Ski, he moved up to Emerald Island because he said, "What you go over that bridge, man? It's just a weight off your shoulders of every day. You got so much marine life, and then you need that break. You need to have that fucking have that drink just to forget about all the bullshit for the last week and relax."
Yeah.
And that's what it was. It was pretty much that.
Yeah, no, like that was one of because like I lived in the barracks the whole time I was in. And it was like you're in the Marine Corps morning, noon, and fucking night, and like I can only imagine what it'd be like. Fucking like, all right, I'm done. I'm gonna take the uniform off for like 6 hours.
Yeah.
Not walking outside. Although the flip side to that, though, which is one of the things I do miss, is like it's 3 o'clock in the morning on select whatever fucking day. I'm bored or pissed off or need somebody to talk to, and just walk outside to the smoke pit. Somebody's fucking there,
Yeah, I miss it. I miss having those people that I could relate to all the time.
Yeah.
There's any time that I got lucky with being an FO. We have really small teams. We always got real close. Like I said, we had no problem having a barbecue at our house with the Lance Corporals that we worked with.
Right.
We were very tight. And I loved having that, just a different mentality of everybody else. And then you could definitely tell, like the guys, like the first sergeants from the academy, man, they would come over. I worked at the Combined Arms Staff Trader on Camp Lejeune, and we used to train everybody when they would go, pre-deployment or whatever. And some of them, man, they were just so fucking high strung. It's like, dude, like, do you relax at all? Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although fucking those tight wound guys, fucking they going back to no matter what your rank is, being a Lance Corporal at heart, can be really fun to fuck with.
Yeah.
When I guess I was in fucking Quantico, our first sergeant Clark, fucking he would come out and give us, everybody the fucking, safety brief every fucking weekend. And he had like what the Dodge Charger or Challenger, I forget which one, fucking like just came out, and he had one, and he was telling us like, hey, listen, fucking don't drink and drive, don't drive and drink, don't add or take away from the population, fucking blah 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 whatever. And if you're out somewhere and you find yourself too drunk to drive home, don't drive home, get a taxi. If you can't get a taxi, call your Marines and your NCOs. If they don't pick up, call me, And he was like, but I'm not going to be driving. I'm trying to teach my 16-year-old daughter how to drive, and I'm going to be drunk, so you're going to be behind the wheel of who doesn't know how to drive, driving this, big fucking muscle car, blah, whatever. So me and my buddy Ben went out to fucking Fredericksburg and got fucked up on purpose. And then we went up the recall roster, starting at fucking private, let it ring once, hang up the phone. So like there's a log that says we called.
Oh, that's great.
You're going to get fucking first sergeant to fucking call us. And we get the fucking staff sergeant. Staff sergeant picks up the phone like, God damn it. Hey, staff sergeant, what's up? Like, could you have not picked up the phone on the first
right on the first fucking ring, dude? Like, really? I had a lieutenant who checked in right before we went to Iraq, and I was the staff sergeant at the time, and he ended up getting a DUI, and it was like 5 miles from my house. And I said, like, dude, why the fuck didn't you call me? Like, I would have came out there, and because he ran his truck off the road and he was in a ditch. And, I guess, somebody ended up calling the cops. I said, dude, why didn't you fucking call me first? Nobody should have called before me. I would have came out there and sat in your fucking car. You could have left, in my, I would have driven you to my house, came back and sat with your car and told them I fucking drove. Well, you're staff sergeant. I didn't, ended up calling the captain, and I was like, why? Where did you read that in a book? Like, yeah, dude, like, come on. I mean, he ended up getting fucked on it, I mean, I don't think he ever picked up captain. He was only in for the 4 years, and then he ended up getting out. But yeah, man, I mean, it's a different time now. There's a lot of different stuff, and I hear it from some of the Marines who just came in. They talk about how different it is, and but I served at the right time. It fit my personality, and I fucking loved every day of it.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Fucking wouldn't take any of it fucking back. But the DUI story reminds me of this guy. We're gonna call him Jeff. Um, but fucking so we're about to go to Afghanistan with 2-7, and we're out of fucking Pendleton. We're combat camera, so we're T80 attached with some shit, right? And it's a couple weeks before fucking deployment, and this dude fucking gets a DUI, and it's not like did anything stupid get pulled over, but like the gate guards got him for being like 0.1 over, whatever.
Yeah.
So he gets back up the fucking thing, gets out of fucking the fucking like drunk tank or whatever, and the CO's like, I'm gonna run you up the fucking flagpole, I'm gonna make a fucking example out of you, fucking, we're gonna make you fucking private, all this fucking, he's a sergeant at the time, and do all this whatever. However, because of whatever's going on, fucking we're gonna put it off, and we're gonna fucking court martial you when you get back from deployment, right? Which is shitty to do in the fucking first place.
No shit, right?
But we're over in Afghanistan with 2-7 and 08, and like I don't know how much you know about the deployment, but it was kind of a fucking shit show. This dude ends up getting some fucking like nav com with a fucking V as a combat camera guy type shit, So the company commander in Fox Company 2-7 gives him a page 11 for his DUI. So then when he gets back, they can't fucking NJP him for it, but they didn't tell like our command. So when we get back, they're like, all right, so let's take you to the fucking CO to get this. He's like, no, I already got charged with that.
Yeah. And I mean, that goes back to leadership, man. Because you can't be charged twice. And, that's going to, I'm sure that probably pissed some people off, but I mean, you saved a career by giving them a page 11.
Yeah. So this was 2008. I think he's about to retire as Master of Guns right now.
Yeah, that's incredible. Yeah. I mean, and really that's, man, that's, that Jeff, changed his whole outlook on how he treats his Marines and how he gets,
this is like weird anyway. Like, imagine like Danny Trejo, but like actual Mexican, like nativity fucking scene tattooed on his fucking abs and shit. And like, this is one of those dudes where it's like, all right, so we're going to go on a 10-mile run for fucking PT this morning. And then if you didn't show up to PT because like you had medical or some shit, like after his 10-mile run with everyone for PT in the morning, all the guys that went to medical but got cleared is like, all right, well, let's go do it again for fucking chow. And it's like, you ran fucking 20 miles a day just to fucking like real solid fucking dude. Like, like hated him at the time just because it's like, I'm a Lance Corporal. This sucks. But like, fucking, I still call him every once in a while. I'm like, hey, dude, normally at 3 o'clock, I'm like, hey, I want you to know that I love you. You're the greatest since you ever had. And he's like, nice. How you doing, buddy? I'm like, I am drunk. And he's like, it's okay, dude. I'm glad you're calling.
Yeah, that's right. And I think I'm going to make a mental note that from the second book, if I have anybody that I need to replace names with, it's going to be Jeff. I have 2 stories in my book from me, that I named my buddy Pete because at the time he was married and I would go to strip clubs and do stuff, but he said, he was like, look, I would love to have these stories in here, but I really don't want you to use my name. So I named him Pete because that was kind of a nickname for him anyway. Yeah. So the second book I'm going to use Jeff. That's gonna be the name, Jeff.
People are gonna read that and be like, dude, what's this Jeff guy doing?
Fucking Jeff, man. Jeff's pretty popular.
Yeah. But anyway, on that, we're about at our time limit. I want to thank you so much for coming on, and we're gonna have to do this again. Fucking text me at some point. Fucking maybe we'll do this again a couple weeks after the fucking book comes out, and we'll fucking talk about fucking whatever. But in the meantime, can you tell the people where to find you and give us a little spiel on Bar in a Bar?
Yep, sure. So Kesse Esterly on Facebook. I don't have a made up name or anything like that. I'm on Instagram at Born in a Bar USMC, and my website is borninabar.com. So you can reach out to me at any one of those. I'm not picky on friend requests. If you send me a friend request, I'm going to accept it. Whatever. But especially if you're a Marine, I won't even hesitate to accept you as a friend. You're my brothers and sisters anyway. So, but yeah, book will be out. I'm probably going to put it out available for purchase on November 6th. That way you could have it by the birthday. I thought about, just, a release date of November 10th, but the whole idea of having it by the birthday, I figured that was worth more. So, it'll be out by then. And if anybody has any stories, you can always submit them to me. I'll just save them till we start working on the second round.
Sounds good. But on that second round, I will see you around. Thank you so much for coming on, and Semper Fi.
I appreciate it. Semper Fi, brother.
Yeah.
See you.